Just want to say good afternoon to everybody. It's really great to see this turnout here from our community for our Bigfoot Workers Town Hall. Thank you for being here. I want to take this opportunity to introduce today's moderators, Nikolai Anderson, co-chair, Eugene Springfield Democratic Socialists of America, and Carpenters member. What local, Nikolai?
541.
There you go. I didn't want to mess it up. And myself, Tiso Caranas, I am a trustee with Teamsters Local 223, one of the sister locals of our local represented here today on the panel, Teamsters Local 324. Proud to be up here with my fellow Teamster brethren. Thank you all for being here, panelists. Let's see, I'm also with Eugene Springfield Solidarity Network, a Jobs with Justice chapter. And this event comes at an incredibly crucial time in this campaign involving our Teamsters Local 324 members and the Bigfoot Beverage Company. And really, we started talking about this a while back, and we wanted to take the opportunity to get this event together today to educate everybody on what's been going on in the strike, what's been going on in the boycott, and generally how folks can get involved in the efforts going forward on this campaign. In case folks don't know, and guys, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think, is it day 192?
192.
So, for those of you that don't know, that's a long time in the labor world to be out on strike. Long, long time. So, I want to commend these folks for being out that long. So, want to educate folks? So we have a number of items that are going to be covered today by our panelists who we'll introduce here shortly. Some of those items Brother Nikolai will outline for us here in a moment. Once again, thank you for being here today with these workers that have sacrificed so much for 192 days, and I would say before that as well, with their practice pickets and whatnot. I'm sure it means a lot to them, and being a fellow Teamster personally means a lot to me for you all being here today. And of course our Bigfoot Strike Coalition that we've gotten together, so many different organizations that are represented here today. Some of those folks will get an opportunity to represent themselves later today as well. So without further ado, Nikolai, go ahead and take it away. We'll go from there.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. So real quick, I'm just going to go over why we're here and why it's so important that you are here in support. Because this is not a fight about pensions. This is straight up union busting. The owners knew that that was a red line to remove the pension for the Teamsters, and that with no pension, there was no union. And so this is union busting undoubtedly. They had a false decertification taken by a scab vote. They have done every dirty trick in the book, and this has all been headed up by Fisher Phillips, which is a union-busting law firm. It's their job to do it. There are no doubts here. They've used scab labor from out of, not just out of town, from out of state. A lot of people from down south, so that they have no connections here. They don't feel bad about it. And the company has been very, very thorough about making attacks on the workers themselves, the union, and even community supporters like ESSN, who earned themselves a ULP, which, by the way, if you know anything about labor law, you don't get ULPs unless you represent workers. ESSN does not. So evidently, Eric and Andy also don't know about labor law. So we're here to raise some awareness for you, give you a chance to talk to the workers, get organizations, businesses, individuals support, highlight some personal experiences from our panelists and what they've been through in the past 6 months, and get their stories. So, without further ado, I'd like to begin by introducing Jess there, over at the end. Thank you for welcoming Jess. Jess, do you want to go ahead and give a little opening statement for me?
So I apologize. I won't remember all of this, so I'm going to read it off a prepared statement. Hello, my name is Jess. I've been with Bigfoot Beverages for over 12 years and a proud Teamster for more than 27. My entire career has been built in the beverage industry, climbing every rung of the ladder at multiple beer and soda distributors. Today, I work as an on-premise sales representative at the Eugene Bigfoot branch. For the past 12 years, I have poured my heart and soul into this company, not only helping Bigfoot build its beer business from its infancy, but also mentoring and training my coworkers. Every delivery driver who has worked under me has advanced into a sales role or management role. My loyalty to Bigfoot was unwavering until September 19th. My career, my retirement, and my professional reputation were deeply tied to this company. I even played a key role in helping Eric and Andy buy out the rest of the family owners, consolidating their ownership between the two of them. I truly believed Bigfoot was where I would finish my career. I was just 3 years away from early retirement with my full Teamster pension benefits. But with the company's decision to replace our pension with a 401k plan, my retirement date has now been pushed out to 15 years. These so-called professionals have harassed us, Throughout my time at Bigfoot, I built meaningful relationships with customers, coworkers, and supplier partners. These relationships, especially with my accounts, made my job fulfilling every single day, but now some of them have soured. Not because of anything we've done, but because of the immature, distasteful, and outright disgraceful behavior of Bigfoot's owners, managers, salespeople, and even office staff. These so-called professionals have harassed us daily, flipping us off, calling us crybabies, making nasty comments as they pass, mockingly waving, blowing kisses. My own manager thinks it's funny to slowly sip his Pepsi or coffee while he drives by. I once played City League basketball with Eric Forrest. Now he condescendingly tells my wife and me that he can still be civil when we run into him at the club level at Autzen. This from a man who has yelled at us on the picket line, the very strike line he forced us onto, saying we put ourselves out there. Meanwhile, he drives in and out of the yard in a brand new $100,000 plus Ford Raptor purchased well after the strike began. And the behavior doesn't stop there. The company vice president's wife thought it was appropriate to shoulder check and physically threaten my wife at a Duck football game, all because we dared to stand up for our right to choose our retirement and protect our union rights. Managers, many of whom I once mentored or socialized with, along with their spouses, have harassed, trolled, and bullied us and our families online, even creating fake accounts to do so. Some have threatened striking workers, telling them their jobs would be in jeopardy if they didn't cross the picket line. They have spread blatant lies to community members and accounts, falsely claiming the strike is over or that I've quit my job. And let's not forget the dangerous, violent actions of Bigfoot's head of IT. He has repeatedly used his big diesel Dodge pickup to intimidate striking workers on the picket line and actually clipped one of the strikers. His behavior has already resulted in 2 unfair labor practices charges against the company, yet he continues to drive threateningly. Even a few of my longtime customers, people I've supported for over a decade, have been swayed by Bigfoot's lies and propaganda. Some now stand behind a company that enables this kind of behavior. But let me be clear, the relationships I build in this industry belong to me. They are not transferable to whatever scab replaces me. That being said, I am incredibly grateful for my accounts and the people who have stood by us. Their support, whether through kind words, reaching out, or bringing food to striking workers, has truly shown me the strength and generosity of this community. This is also not the first time I've been on strike to protect my Teamster pension and medical benefits. Back in 2007, I was working at Western Beverage when we went on strike. It was the same story, a company with multiple branches across the state of Oregon trying to strip away our Teamster pension and health care to increase their profit before selling the business. They also offered a 401k with an employer contribution, just like Bigfoot is now. We fought for 6 hard weeks, enduring harassment, being spit on, even pepper sprayed. We lost friends. It took a huge financial toll on my family, just as this one does. And in the end, the union was dissolved. That promised employer contribution for the 401k, it was gone by the start of the next year. We cannot let that happen again. We will continue to stand our ground and fight for the retirement we choose and the pension we deserve. Because today, it's our retirement at stake. Tomorrow, it could be yours.
Thank you, Jess. I appreciate that. Well, Edwin, I believe you are up next. Are you ready to share your story about what Bigfoot's done to you?
Hello, everybody. My name is Edwin Powell. I've been a Teamsters for close to 4 years. I worked at UPS for close to a year, and I'm nearing my 3rd year right now at Bigfoot. I was also a part of the negotiation committee in these bargaining units, and I sat through every single one since the start of April till now. You know, I really enjoy this company a lot, and I know that's you can kind of hear those statements a lot, but I came from a lot of toxic work environments, a lot of non-union jobs. So when I came into Bigfoot, I mean, I could tell you I felt right in. You know, it came down to working with everybody. I had a general great experience. I've never even met the owners until I sat in to the negotiations, and all they showed us was we were wasting their time trying to negotiate with them. They showed no interest in even trying to prevent a strike. Even before we went on strike, they were preparing themselves to start spreading misinformation about us. And, you know, the acts the owners and the company has committed against us is so disrespectful to the work we've put in. You know, 192 days is crazy. They still, you know, make fun of us, hide behind fake accounts. They continue to spread lies. You know, we've been called, you know, we've been said that we're calling people racist things. We're saying, you know, sexual harassment things, and they're tarnishing not even their own reputation. They're intentionally willing to tarnish the reputation of everybody who stands up there, and it's absurd. And I'm, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, but I'm pretty upset, and yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story, Edwin. I'm sorry that this is how the owners decide to repay all of your hard work. Next, we have Tom. Tom, are you feeling ready here, brother?
Sure.
Let's go.
Hi, my name is Tom. I've been with Bigfoot Beverage for 16 years. I've only worked in the warehouse. Since this has begun, I've been almost run over 5 times, one by a 40-foot box truck, and the other times by the little or the little vans. But that's all I can say.
All right, thank you. Almost getting hit once is bad. Almost getting hit 5 times is criminal. Fortunately, not funny, though. Anyway, all right, Kevin. Sorry. You sat in a different order earlier. My bad.
That's right.
Mark, you ready, brother?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you. I've been employed with Bigfoot Beverages for over 25 years. There are 4 main reasons why I've been there this long. The first one is that Bigfoot Beverages is a family-owned local company that gave me job security. The second is relationships I've formed with my coworkers and customers. The third was the ability to retire with a union pension. I was only 2 years away from that if this wouldn't have not happened. The final reason was having health insurance for my family. That insurance became the most important benefit 9 years ago when my wife was diagnosed with a chronic disease that's extremely expensive to treat. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, we received a letter from Pacific Source stating that Bigfoot Beverages had canceled our insurance plan effectively January 1st. At this point, I'd figured Bigfoot had taken everything they could from me. Job security, growth of my pension, and health insurance. But what they did not take away from me was the strong relationships I've built on the picket line over the last 192 days. What we've went through. What we went through together is a surreal experience with a lot of struggles, mental stress, but great memories that I will have and cherish. The most important thing they didn't take away from me was my ability to stand up for what I believe in. I think I'm doing the right thing, and Bigfoot is not. At the end of this thing, win or lose, I can say I stood up for what I thought was right. I would like to thank all the support from the community, the customers who have joined the boycott, the network, the Teamsters Local 324 for their financial support for my family's health insurance. Chris, thank you very much.
Absolutely, brother.
And especially, I'd like to thank the support from my family and my wife. Without her, this would have been impossible. Thank you all.
Thank you, brother, for those moving words. Bo, are you ready to take a swing at this?
Ready.
All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Bo. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. Let me start off by saying I never thought I'd be put in this situation, fighting for my pension that I've had 17 years vested into. I have dedicated the majority of my career to Bigfoot Beverages with nothing but hard work and dedication to the company's success. From that hard work and dedication, I find myself and my fellow union members on strike because the company sees fit to uproot the steadfast and reliable Teamsters pension plan with the risk-filled 401k plan. Now more than ever, as a father of four, I'm trying to sustain a reliable path for the future. These changes of this magnitude have a significant impact on not just my life, but my family's life too. Think to yourself, people ask, why don't you just leave and find a new job? It is because I love my job. Leaving my job that you love is not as easy, and it's not an option. I have worked hard as a delivery driver to establish and maintain my route for nearly 10 years. I have built relationships in the community that go deeper than just delivering product. Think to yourself, if you found a job that you loved and dedicated your life to, would you be able to walk away after 10, 15, 20 years, 35 years? These are some of the examples of the numbers of years the fellow Teamsters have dedicated to this company. We can't just walk away. We've just hit our 6-month mark, 192 days. It's been a long road. One of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. Through the sunny weather when it started last fall, to watch the rain turn to snow, heavy winds, we have been through it all. Spending holidays together down on the line, away from our families, we are still committed to the cause and will continue to fight for what is right and what we deserve. One of the most One of the most important reasons I'm sharing with you today is to make sure to thank so many that have supported us over the last 6 months. The network has been a huge supporter, bringing awareness to the community and countless other organizations. We cannot thank you enough. Also, to the community for the support and the donations, the food, snacks, warm coffee, especially when it was bitterly cold, and the honks of encouragement to keep us going. Thank you to the Teamsters for supporting my family and helping us cover medical bills when our insurance was cut off at the beginning of this year. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share my story. I hope these words reach more people and rally more support for our cause.
Thank you, Bo. Keep fighting for what you love, brother. Kevin, how are you feeling there, brother?
I'm good.
All right.
So good morning, everyone, or well, actually afternoon. My name's Kevin, and I've worked for Bigfoot Beverages in Newport for the past 7 years. I started as a merchandiser, and 3 years ago became a Class A truck driver. In that time, I've covered every route in the Lincoln County area in some capacity. I know these roads, these stores, and the people who rely on us to keep their businesses running. But today, I'm not here as just a worker. I'm here as someone fighting for fairness, for dignity, and for the right to retire with security. Yeah, and like I said, I've worked here for 7 years, blood, sweat, tears, all weather. And for Eric and Andy to treat our sacrifices, especially during COVID, as if they were just meaningless as far as like exposing ourselves to health risks and stuff like that. And for them to just take away our retirement and our security and our dignity because they feel it's necessary for them, is just beyond ridiculous. We were promised this, we have been for 35 years or whatever it's been. And now they're just like, nope, that's it, game over, bye, we need more money. So yeah, I mean, I thought that when I started here that I'd be able to rely on that when I got old, and they just decided that was too much. But anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Next up, we have Braden. You feeling ready, brother?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Hello, everybody. My name is Braden Penny. I've been a merchandiser for Bigfoot Beverages for 4 months. I've been on strike for 6. Definitely not putting in the years that these guys have, but at my former job, I've been with the union for 8 years now. My former union president is the person that recommended I get a job at Bigfoot Beverages. As you can tell, it's been very prosperous careers for all of these gentlemen sitting to my right. 7, 8, 14, 17 years. I was very excited to find a career and not a job. And then, stuff hit the fan. And so here we are 6 months later, still fighting for our pension. It's been very shameful what Bigfoot has been doing because we've had our pension since 1947 or 57?
1957.
1957. And yeah, so we aren't asking for anything new. We're just asking to keep what we've already had, what we've already worked so hard for. And the fact that we've had the pension for so long and now they want to get rid of it just to save more money when they live in $1.6, $1.8 million houses, driving around in brand new $100,000 cars, telling us that we're the ones that put ourselves out in the cold. It's just shameful, and I am disgraced in Bigfoot for what they are doing, not only to the people in the community, but what they are doing to their own business.
Thank you very much, Braden, for sharing the story of their selfishness. Next, we have Chris Muse, Secretary-Treasurer of Teamsters Local 324.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being out here on a Saturday. So I've been a 31-year Teamster. I've been running Local 324 since January of 2010, and this is my 4th contract cycle bargaining with Bigfoot Beverages. And in the first 3, like any employer, we go up and down, we go back and forth, we talk economics, we talk language. But in those first 3 terms, we always got to a recommended deal. We got good contracts. Not this time around. This time around, it was all about greed, power, control. They didn't want anything to do with the contract. So they went through the motions in the beginning of the negotiations. We talked through some language. We actually got some good improvements in language for these guys during the process. But then they threw out the pension, and that's why we're here. And to Nikolai's point in the opening statements, it's not about the pension. I'm a trustee on the Western Conference of Teamsters pension plan. I've been a trustee for a couple years now. So they didn't know anything about the pension. They lied at the bargaining table. They talked about the benefits of a 401k, which are clearly not in the best interest of the members as a standalone retirement program. So they knew that this was about busting the union, and that's all this is about. They're hell-bent on getting rid of these fine, hardworking young men and women that made this company the pillar of the community that they tried to still go out there and promote. They're not a pillar of the community at all. They're rat bastards. That's what they are. I started my career at UPS. That's the industry that I came out of, and I was on the strike line in 1997 for a whopping 10 days. And here we are 6 months with this crew. And I have to tell you that watching them day in and day out in the weather, overnight, storms coming in and ripping the cover from them and rolling it into the street and rebuilding. And the solidarity from this group has been inspiring to me as a union leader. It's made me want to be an even stronger leader moving forward. And I just got to tell you that it's the brothers and sisters, it's about them, and it's about their commitment. And to their points, Bigfoot is their home. They dedicated their lives to these assholes, pardon my language, and this is the thanks that they get. And so I just encourage everybody that what we're asking from the community is additional support. We need you to not buy these products. We need you to reach out to the employer and tell them that what they're doing is wrong and that they need to get back to the table and put everybody back to work. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris, for saying it like it is. These are union-busting rat bastards, period. Next up, we have a couple of community organizers who have dedicated a lot of time and resources into making sure that the Teamsters are going to win this thing. I'd first like to welcome Lonnie from the Eugene Springfield Solidarity Network.
Thank you. So, yeah, Lonnie Douglas. I'm a volunteer organizer with the Eugene Springfield Solidarity Network, Jobs with Justice chapter. And we've been in this community, well, the organization's been in this community 30 years, advocating for workers. I want to be very clear, first off, ESSN is not a union. You know, so I don't know how the NLRB has any jurisdiction over telling us what we can and cannot do. But, right. What we are is we are a network. We're a network of labor organizations, student groups, grassroots organizations, individual organizers and activists in our community, all who work and strive to protect the rights of all workers, the right to a good job, the right to a decent standard of living, and most of all, the right to organize. You know, we're involved in this fight right now because we believe that the owners of Bigfoot Beverages, Eric Forrest and Andy Moore, yep, boo. You see their big old heads over there. They are engaging in what we believe are illegal and racist union-busting tactics. We believe that they are not bargaining in good faith with their workers. And as a community, we need to hold these type of individuals and these businesses accountable when they abuse their workers, when they disrespect their workers, when they attack their workers, because we all at some point are workers or were workers or will be workers, and if we don't stand in solidarity with each other, then things in our community are just going to keep getting worse and worse. One thing our network does believe in, we do believe in the term restorative justice, the concept of restorative justice. I didn't know that when I was what that meant in the military, but all the people in Eugene educated me on this over the years. And what that means is Eric and Andy have engaged in despicable behavior. What we believe is illegal behavior, what we believe is racist behavior, and we believe that they can make it right, but they have to want to do that. They have to come to the table, they have to make it right with their workers, protect their pensions, bargain in good faith, bring these people back to work. And if they don't do that, it is our responsibility as a community to hold them accountable. It's also important to remember this is straight up union busting. And if they are successful, this is the thing I will say, I've seen this time and time again, is we pick a fight that needs to be fought. We stand up for, you know, whether it's workers, whether it's the unhoused, whether it's marginalized communities, and it's great when we win, but if they're successful in busting this strike, I will say this, we need to not stop going after them. We need to continue that fight and hold them accountable. And they need to know now that that is exactly what we will do. Because if they, again, we hope that what they will do is do the right thing. That they'll stop their bad behavior, they'll come to the table, they'll protect these workers' pensions, and they'll bring them back to work. But if they don't, they need to know that over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, we will continue to show up at their tailgate parties, show up at their events, engage with the people that they do business with, engage with the people that they are friends with. And this fight will continue. Hopefully, we won't have to worry about that because they will realize that they need to, square their, I was going to say a bad word. They need to square their stuff away and do the right thing. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you for speaking, Lonnie. And just to reiterate, it is the responsibility of each and every one of us in the community to keep this fight going and make sure we win. If not, you're next. I'd like to introduce now 6 from the Revolutionary Women's Committee.
Hi, you guys. Chuck? I got this one. Yeah. Hi, you guys. I'll keep this brief because I know we got a tight schedule, but my name's Six. I'm on the Revolutionary Women's Committee. We're an organization of working class women and non-binary people who take up working class people's struggles. I've been organizing in the coalition related to ESSN, and I just wanted to give a huge commendation to the workers and the community members and everybody that's just involved in keeping this entire campaign afloat. It's been a really, really difficult and tumultuous campaign, but it's been very inspiring, like a lot of people have been saying, to see the workers and community willing to continue the fight through various conditions. And I'm excited to share all the information about the campaign and information about where we're at with the strike. So thank you.
Appreciate the show of solidarity, 6. Next up, we're moving on to T-Zoc here, who's going to lead us in some questions. Think of it like an FAQ, kind of.
Test. Okay, we're still good. So thank you all. You've done a really good job of explaining the background on pretty much the entirety of this timeline. Kind of even covered some of the questions that I'm about to ask you, but I know some folks have joined us this afternoon and couldn't hear the totality of everything you just said. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a list of questions that we have. Some will be for individuals, some will be for the group of workers that are here today, some will be for principal officer of Local 324, and some will be for the community. So I'd like to start with Jess. And you really did give us a good background, but if you could reiterate some of the big stuff, that would be great. Can you give us a brief background of the strike overall, timeline, all that good stuff?
I think Edwin mentioned negotiations started in April of 2024, almost a year ago. I think it was July, mid to late July to 23rd. There is a timeline handout at the front as well. Towards the end of July, the company kind of dropped the bomb that they presented a contract offer without the pension, including their 401k plan. About 2 weeks later, the 9th of August, at that point in time, as Locals 206 and 324 had a strike authorization vote, which was our opportunity to vote and say that we wouldn't accept any contract offer that did not include a Teamsters pension in it. So to the company's lie that we never voted, we did vote August 9th. About 3 weeks later, September 19th, midnight, warehouse people walked off the job, strike began. A little over a month later, October 31st, the first wave of health insurance was revoked for people that hadn't worked enough hours throughout the calendar year 2024. So folks like Braden and some of the people that hadn't worked there very long lost their health insurance October 31st. And then Thanksgiving, right around Thanksgiving, the company decided, what worse can we do to them other than having them out on the line during the holiday season than to let them know that we no longer recognize their union, and pulled a sham decertification vote. It wasn't even a vote. They signed a petition. Nothing ever filed with the NLRB. Jump ahead to January 1st, and as previously mentioned, all employees that were on strike had their health insurance coverage revoked and canceled, despite the numerous employees that had worked enough qualifying hours to qualify for health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. The company unilaterally made that decision to pull health care. And then now we're here today, still fighting the good fight, 192 days, over 6 months.
Thank you, brother. Everything articulated, truly despicable on the part of the company. Like, it doesn't get much worse than deserting a union, pulling your health and welfare benefits, at the worst possible time. Thanks for giving us that background on it. Really appreciate it. Gentlemen, Edwin, Tom, Mark, Bo, Kevin, this next question is for you. So I'll go ahead and ask it, and if each one of you could go ahead and give your background and interpretation of it, that would be great. And some of you have done this already to some degree. How have the interactions generally been with management and scabs on the line? Great, right?
So, I do a lot of ambulatory picketing. As some of you who follow the 324 page, you've probably seen me in the comment threads quite a bit. In terms of management, you got that one manager who just won't say anything to us, won't acknowledge us, will completely ignore us. And then you have certain managers who like to hide behind fake Facebook accounts and spread misinformation, call us greedy, harass us, patronize us, and basically tell us we're in the wrong while they are trying and going to collect the same pension that we're trying to defend. Which, I don't think there's not a manager currently on our Bigfoot staff who doesn't have no more less than 15 years in this pension. And they tell us that what we're fighting for is wrong, but this pension is something they are also going to collect from. The scabs are hit or miss. I mean, some of them are up front, and they generally tell us, like, hey, I just need a job or whatever. Well, we all need a job, and I prefer if you didn't take my job. And, some are just downright disrespectful. I mean, talking to these guys, who's ever been hit by a semi-truck? Like, they threaten us with violence, they call us names, they harass us, and they steal from us, and they think it's okay. They think they're invulnerable, and I tell them all the time, we will be back. So watch your tone, because I plan on being back with my pension.
Brother Tom, same question. How have interactions generally been with management and scabs on the line?
Well, the managers that we have down there, we only have 3 that we really deal with. Jay's been there 15 years. He always waves. He's always been nice about it. Robert's been there for 25 plus years, and so has Paul Hunter. And they got their pension, and they also got the 401k. So, but I mean, it's Robert and Paul really don't wave, but Jay does.
So kind of split, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, brother. Brother Mark.
I'm part of the vending side, so really interactions with our general manager will probably be Lance most of the time. He'll walk around, and at the time, we had security guards while we're out there watching us. And he'd come out and talk to them and kind of look at us, and most of the time I had a megaphone, and I would let them know, how many years of experience we had out on the line at the time. At that time, we had 157 years of experience, and I told him this, and he yelled back. He had 41 years, and he pointed at himself. And I asked him how many years in the union. He didn't say anything because he had about 15 or 20 years, and he's getting his pension. At that time, he came over and talked to us, and he would say stuff. He told us that you guys are wasting your time. They're never going to come back to you guys. And quit yelling at the scabs. And we're like, we're not going to stop doing that. So, other managers, they'll wave or smile or whatever, but no communication with any of them at all. Not, hey, how are you guys doing? And that day when we talked to Lance, it was probably day 150 or 145, and that was the first time he asked, how are you guys actually doing? So that kind of sums it up for me.
The irony of bosses benefiting from the things you all have fought for. Way too much irony to that. Brother Bo, same question.
The interaction with managers and scabs, it's pretty demeaning when you have a manager going in and blowing you a kiss and waving his fingers at you, taunting you when you're out on strike, fighting for something you deserve. And that's been a hard thing because I trained my manager. He worked up the ladder quick. So it's hard to be out on line and have that happen on a regular basis. And it happens on a regular basis, daily. And, the scab merchandisers are just as terrible, demeaning all the way around. There's no lack of anything that they'll say or, gestures they'll make at you. It's pretty terrible.
Thank you, brother. Brother Kevin.
Well, in Newport, the bosses or the managers, they haven't really said much of anything to us other than maybe Eric Forrest, he came down and had a pizza party for the scabs around Christmas or something like that. Yeah, we made sure to play Baby Shark a whole bunch of times over the night. That was really entertaining. I liked it a lot. But past that, the scabs, we've had some where they flipped us off or said choice words to us, or we actually had one of them say that he knew MMA and then he was going to fight one of the smallest guys on our line. Like literally we got a guy on our line that's 5'2" and this guy's like, come on, I'll fight you. It's crazy. But past that, yeah, they've just been rude, demeaning, and some of them, like you were saying, we've trained them, and this is what they're gonna do to us. They're just gonna stab us in the back. Yeah, it's just crazy how people can be, honestly. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, definitely the height of professionalism over at Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Thank you, brother. Brother Braden, same question.
All right. Well, the managers that we see pulling in and out of the facility, oh yeah, they're all just peaches. We have Andy Moore pulling up to leave the facility as people are crossing the line, and he decides to let off the brake to lunge his car towards some of our striking workers. We have Eric Forrest saying that, coming out saying we put ourselves out in the cold, saying that we don't know how the pension works, and then as he describes it to us, shows that he doesn't know how the pension works. We have the scab workers. Some of them are nice, other ones are super taunty and over the top, and some of them have definitely received karma recently that has definitely been coming for them. But the worst part about the scabs, it's like, they're coming in, they're taking our jobs because they are our jobs, and it's like they say that they just need to get a job to pay bills and stuff, and it's like, okay, but the company doesn't care about us, and we're unionized employees. It's like, if they don't care about the unionized employees, what makes you think that the company's going to care about you? And I know that they're very capable of finding a job somewhere else. They just took the easiest route possible, and then, are stealing food from all of our families. And I think the worst part about the scabs is like, if you're going to steal my job, at least do it right.
Hey,
Well, I
Tizak,
think that says-
can I add one?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, brother.
So management-ish, I mean, Bigfoot's always prided themselves on, safety first, first excellence in driving and all of that. Early on in the strike, had numerous occasions of HR department employees flying around town, using their cars to block vehicles, trying to ambulatory picket, and causing traffic danger while they're out in the market, all from the HR department at the same time. So.
Well, and what that tells me is fear on the company's part. If they're being that proactive to stop you guys in the field like that's not because they don't think this is a big deal. So good on you guys. Brother Muse, you are the next question. Thank you, gentlemen. So what's been the approach by Teamsters Local 324 in relation to this outstanding unfair labor practice concerning the employer's assertion that they will not recognize the group, the bargaining unit, any longer? I know you touched upon it a little bit earlier, so if you want to reiterate some of those comments for folks now, that'd be awesome.
So we currently have about 9 ULPs that remain open. This is just one of them. That's one that was filed most recently. And back to that point, obviously, the company has not formally signed a decertification with the NLRB, right? So every single one of these striking members is still legally an employee of Bigfoot Beverages. Many of them still have access to their payroll on their phones, on the computer screen. So the company knows that they're still employees, and they know that what they did was absolutely illegal, and that's why a decert has not been filed. Now, many of you may or may not know that there's a little bit of turmoil with the National Labor Relations Board at the moment. And so we're pushing forward, obviously, with all of the open ULPs, but we had one filed back in September where the company lied to the bargaining committee about the pension itself. And basically, they were disingenuous at best by claiming that the amount of money that they were willing to put into a 401k would give as big of a return as the Teamster pension would, which was a bold-faced lie. And they failed to mention that the only way that they could even get those metrics to seemingly work on their half would be for our members, for the term of the labor agreement, to fork over all of their raises into the 401k and essentially take no raise over the term of the labor agreement. That's what this is about, okay? So we are in the process of filing new charges every time they hit one of our members, every time they threaten one of our members. We will continue to move forward, but the charge that was filed back in September for unfair labor practice for bargaining in bad faith, I am only just now getting an interview with the NLRB in 2 weeks. That's how long the process takes. So it's an uphill battle with the government and the agencies currently, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
The wheels of justice turn very slowly with the NLRB, especially right now. That's why all the work that everybody's been doing in the field is super important at this point. We have to keep up that fight and make sure that we can get an affirmative ruling on this. So that goes for the community too, not just the workers. So, Brother Lonnie, got a question for you.
Yep.
Big question. How's the community been involved? And what's been the overall perception of the strike and the boycott?
All right, so yeah, I mean, the community, the network, which is made up of a lot of different groups, has been involved pretty much from the onset. One thing we do is we're supporting the boycott of Bigfoot Beverages, and you can go to boycott Bigfoot now. .now to see what beverages not to buy. The other thing we've been doing is basically an accountability campaign, right? We've been doing actions. Good one we did, fun one we did was we did a tailgate crash at Bigfoot's tailgate party that they hold at every Ducks game. Yeah. That one was fun. you know, Six was, there's some really good pictures of Six with her bullhorn yelling in people's faces and them yelling in her faces. And, yep. And we got them to close that down, so they had to close up their little tailgate party. And we've done actions at Summit Bank and Umpqua Bank. We actually got Umpqua Bank to close down for a day because they found out, because they monitor our email list. I think they're actually signed up on our email list, and so they knew we were going to show up, and the bank was closed when we showed up, which we took as a win. So both those banks, we went did an action at Jerry's, which is what we figure is where we got the ULP, and that was just delivering a letter to Jerry's, which we also delivered a letter to Summit and Umpqua Bank. Basically, what we're doing is we are targeting the relationships of Eric Forrest and Andy Moore, the people that they do business with, their friends. We have a group of very powerful, very rich, there's kids here, so I won't say that word, very powerful, very rich, bad people in our community, bad actors. And it's real simple. We want to, Eric and Andy need to be made an example of. If they're not going to do the right thing, we want their friends to not have them hang around. If they know that we're going to show up at events that they're at, if they know that we're going to, if you do business with Bigfoot Beverages, if they know that we're going to show up at their place of business and pick at them or give them a hard time, then hopefully they will put, their peers will put pressure on them to settle this. Again, this all gets down to accountability, and that's really what the community, I think, aside from boycotting and putting financial pressure on Bigfoot, we need to put social pressure on these individuals that are ruining our community.
Lonnie, one comment. Can you explain the relationship of Summit and Umpqua to all this? Because I don't think everybody's aware of that connection.
Yeah, so Eric and Andy, Eric Forrest sits on the board of directors for Umpqua Bank. Andy Moore sits on the board of directors of Summit Bank. And who do you think's going to handle the 401k? To me, a pretty glaring conflict of interest. So yeah, the letters we delivered to them, we specifically asked both board of directors to suspend Eric and Andy from any board duties, not kick them off the board or anything like that, but suspend them from board duties until they've resolved this strike in a way that, the right way, basically. Of course, they ignored us, so, And we did get a letter when we did Umpqua. We just got a cease and desist letter from Eric and Andy's lawyers, and we sent them an email that said they could, well, I won't say what we said, but they could say.
Yeah, it's funny how Bigfoot and their friends interpret what free speech is and isn't in this conflict. Something to remember. Comrade 6, same question.
Yeah.
How has the community been involved? What's the overall perception of the strike boycott from the community?
Yeah, for sure. So my understanding of this from working with the SSN and going out, canvassing, flying for some of these actions that we've organized, it's a little bit of a mixed bag at times, but I would say overall people are in support. People positively want to support the workers. We've seen this from a large demographic of people. I remember when we did the Summit Bank rally, there was this large crowd of, I think high schoolers, or they were a bunch of teenagers, I think, for some event, and we were flying some of the things, and their teachers were like, they don't even know what that is, but the kids are like, I'm gonna go take this home to my parents, to go boycott Bigfoot Beverages. So, and we've had some people too also that have been not so supportive of the strike, like when we did the rally outside Matthew Knight Arena, we had some people snatch some flyers out of our hands, give us some, not so kind words, but I think for the most part, people are in support, and have an understanding of what Eric and Andy are doing is not okay. It's shameful. When we flyered outside of the Jerry's, even though people had different opinions on unions themselves, like hearing about the story and the struggle of the workers who are on strike right now with Bigfoot, everybody that we gave flyers to was in support and willing to continue to spread the message. So, yeah. I would say people are in support. They want the victory of the striking workers.
Thank you, Six. Appreciate that. So one last pointed question for everybody on the panel here today. What can the community or others do to support the continued strike and boycott? Starting with Jess.
I mean, the biggest thing is just not buying Bigfoot products. When you see a scab out in the market, make sure you remind them they're a scab and try to make them uncomfortable in their job. Anything to do that, spread the word to your friends, family, encourage them also not to buy Bigfoot products. I know the list is long, but there should be QR codes on the flyers that will take you to the list. And yeah, if you enjoy your favorite local breweries, I'm an on-premise sales guy, I'm a beer guy. If you like your Ninkasi, your Cold Fire, go straight to the brewery and buy it. Don't buy it from the grocery store.
Thanks, Jess. Brother Edwin.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of reinforce what he said, obviously boycott any Bigfoot beverage products we used to distribute. Another thing is, obviously, like he said, making the scabs uncomfortable is a huge deal to me, especially. And I don't mean just, say mean things to them, but really, look at them in the face and ask them, do you understand what you're doing is wrong? And I've said that multiple times to them, and it makes them uncomfortable because they know what they're doing is wrong. They are stealing jobs. They are laughing in our face about it. But when we follow them and we go to their next stop, and I look them in the face and I ask them, how would you feel if this was you? What would you do? And I've had a scab close his trailer door on me because he does not want to talk to me. Confrontation makes people uncomfortable. I'm not saying to be aggressive by any means or anything, but generally have a heart-to-heart with some of these people who are stealing jobs, because if they're willing to steal our jobs, they're willing to steal something from you too.
Brother Tom, same question.
Join us on the picket line. Come and support us there and grab our flag and hang out with us.
Thank you, brothers. Brother Mark.
On the vending side, we have vending machines all over the city, Eugene, Springfield, Cottage Grove, schools. I'd like to see, like the city of Eugene, state offices to have vending machines in them, the county places that they go to, the schools. I know 4J schools have turned their machines off, which is huge. Springfield schools need to do the same thing. Same with like the community colleges, LCC, SWAC down in Coos Bay. We even have markets at the state police department right here in Springfield. Over here in Eugene, at the fire department, there's a can pop machine in there. It's disheartening to see that they're taking struck goods, and a lot of those people are union members in those places.
Thank you, Mark. Brother Bo.
Boycott Bigfoot beverages. I mean, every product that they distribute, don't buy them. Don't buy them. Spread the word. Tell everybody you know. Don't buy Bigfoot products. And if you can, join us on the picket line. Come introduce yourself. Say hi. Everybody will be willing to talk with you and walk with you. That or ambulatory picket. Remind the scabs that they're stealing somebody's job, stealing somebody's livelihood.
Thank you, brother. Brother Kevin.
Yeah, I think a lot of what everybody else was saying is very true. Just don't buy Bigfoot products. Make scabs uncomfortable. I mean, honestly, because that's what they're doing. They're stealing from us, and if they had the opportunity, they would steal from anybody else too. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you, buddy. Brother Braden.
Everyone has been saying boycott Bigfoot. If you visit the website boycottbigfoot.now, that will give you a full list of products. There's a lot of people that I still talk to that are like, oh, I don't drink Bigfoot, I don't drink Pepsi. And then I ask them, well, do you drink beer? And they're like, yeah, I love like Ninkasi or Cold Fire. And it's like, okay, well, those are Bigfoot products. The Bigfoot list is massive. If you don't drink soda, maybe you drink energy drinks. If you don't drink energy drinks, maybe you drink coffee. If you don't drink that, maybe sparkling water, normal water. We have such a unbelievably large list. I am sure that if you drink any sort of bottled or canned beverages, you're drinking a Bigfoot product. Not always, but like occasionally you will be drinking a Bigfoot product, not thinking about it. So definitely check out that list. Definitely vote with your money as well. Call restaurants that you frequent. Ask them if they are supporting the boycott. If they aren't, maybe consider spending your money somewhere else. Support businesses that are supporting us. Come out to the line. Stand with us. If you have 5 minutes or 5 hours, we would love to see you guys out there. And also make the scabs as uncomfortable as you guys can. Make sure you don't do anything illegal, keep it all above board, but make sure you remind these guys that they are truly scum of the earth.
Thank you, brother. Folks keep mentioning the boycott list. It's actually down here in a QR code provided by the Lane County Labor Chapter. Thank you, Pat and Rick. Brother Muse, same question.
Yeah, so we also have a QR code that kind of piggybacks on the one that Pat put together. So on the one on your left there, that's one set up by the Teamsters. And then you also have a QR code on the questionnaire that everybody got a copy of. That QR code's on there as well. So this fight is bigger than just a regional fight. Okay, this is not just an Oregon fight. This is not just a Teamster fight. And what I want to remind everybody is that what happens here is going to trickle down across the country. And Fisher Phillips, they started this about 2 years ago now with a company called Melitus up in Portland. And they beat that. That shop is no longer union. They won. They tried to do it here. We've been on strike for 6 months now. And Melitus was bargaining a contract with Local 58 up in Vancouver, and they kept their pension because of the strong picket line that these guys and gals have been keeping these last 6 months. So that is a victory. That is a victory, however small it is. But the IBT locals across the country are watching what happens here because this is just going to continue across the country. So what I'd like to do is emphasize and not underestimate or undervalue the importance of social media, okay? Local 324 has a page up on Facebook. I update it almost every day from the picketers, the ambulatory picketing that's going on, the picket lines. We post those up virtually every day. Eric Forrest, a little schemy so-and-so, I'll try to be better with my language too. I'm a Teamster though, so sorry. He watches that Facebook page religiously. And the reason I know that is because not too long ago, he actually liked one of our pages. And I was able to see it, and I know his account's accurate, the guy that actually liked it. I was actually quick enough to take a screenshot of that and then post it right back on our Facebook page. And then he since had pulled that down. So they watch that. So along from everything that everybody up here on the panel has talked about locally and in person, I would encourage people to show support on your social media and make it flourish, because what happens here is going to dictate what happens everywhere else.
Thank you, Brother Muse. I would just comment real quick that the beverage division for the Teamsters has been a very difficult division for us. We've had a lot of attacks over, I would say, over 50, 60 years now, starting with Coors way back when. So I view this whole conflict as direct lineage of that fight with these bad bosses that have been around forever. So thank you all for articulating all that, and that this fight isn't just regional, it's bigger than that. Brother Lonnie, same question.
Yeah, so like you say, I mean, Coors, you had Western, you had Miletus, now you got Bigfoot. You know, they're not going to stop, right? These bad bosses, these, you know, rich asshole or people are not going to stop. I'm an old sailor, so it's hard for me too. But you know what you can do. What I would say is we've got a sign-up sheet, an email list. When we do events and stuff, if you're on our list, we send out notifications when there's an action going on, and that gives you the opportunity to show up. We do not, I will tell you this, we do not use our email lists for donations. Probably should, but we don't. We're really bad at that. We do not send out a lot of emails. If you get an email from us, it's going to be something that's going on or something that's important. So that's probably one thing that you can do is sign up for the email list, and then, you know, there's another action that we're thinking about doing coming down the pike here, and I'm not going to say what it is, but you know, we'll want people at that, and you know, that's your best way to help out, aside from, you know, also show up on the line, show up, let these guys know that you actually care, and then also don't buy Bigfoot stuff. You know, go to the thing, find out what it is that they got, you know, and drink something else. So.
Comrade 6.
Hi. Yeah, on the question of what community can do to continue to support, I just wanted to add a little bit of emphasis on, like, yeah, kind of, it's already been talked about, but trying to take a step back and really contextualize this particular struggle. It's not an isolated event. This is like a fight that's been going on for like over 100 years. And this is going to continue to happen until we have find solidarity and unity amongst like our working class, like individuals. Like, we have to continue to show people that we are going to show up and fight back against these attacks on like our working class. So we've talked a little bit about like, yeah, the accountability. This is a long-term thing. Like, it's one thing to be in support of something. It's another thing to be actively involved. And I think like that is what we're needing from people. Is I think if you look at Eugene, what makes it so special is like, it really is this like intricate web, and everybody is like, I didn't realize how big and like Bigfoot Beverages really was, like, until getting involved in this campaign. Like, I'd seen the trucks around, but I never really understood like how integrated it is into this community. And everybody who has come and joined to support this campaign has been able to find like what piece of the puzzle that they fit in to support and pick up the front of this fight. And so I really do want to encourage people to not just support, but yeah, come down to the line, get involved in the coalition, because we're going to need people in the coming years, regardless of the results. Like, whether Eric and Andy are successful in busting the union or not, these struggles will continue to pop up, and we need to be there ready to, learn from the lessons of the past. And I think we just really need like a robust, like, historical and political education around this struggle, because it's not new, like, at all, and it'll continue to be something that we're faced with for years and decades to come, until we're all really in it. So I really encourage people to get involved.
Thank you, comrade. So, folks, this is going to be the part of the program where we open up the floor to questions and answers. However, I do want to make two quick announcements, one of which, Brother Louis, where are you? There you are. So Brother Louis from SEIU Local 503 will be handing out passing around a support letter for folks to sign. Looks like he's already doing that now. So I would highly implore you, please sign this letter. It is very, very important that the employer, the company, the bosses understand that the community is behind our Bigfoot workers at the end of the day. So that is deeply appreciated. Also, folks that tend to organize a lot of things sometimes forget to acknowledge themselves in the grand scheme of things. So I want to give special credit to the Bigfoot Worker Strike Coalition. And there's quite a few people involved in that. And I actually had to write it down because it's become a rather large group. So just to name a few, and I'm deeply sorry if I forget anybody, ESSN, the Lane County Labor Chapter, Revolutionary Women's Committee, Revolutionary Study Group, SEIU 503, goodness, GTFF. You were positioned right where I needed you to be. And I see some folks from ATU here today. I think I saw machinists, union folks, U of O student workers. Thank you for showing up today. I don't know if United Academics are in the room, but they've been really supportive lately. Thank you for being here. And OSCA, thank you OSCA, appreciate it. I think I see a brother from IWW here as well. And just really anybody that's not affiliated with an organization that has been out there and helping folks, helping these workers. And one more time.
DSA.
Come on, man.
We're practically joined at the hip, that's why I forgot. And of course, the Eugene Springfield DSA. Which I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. You guys did a hell of a job getting this boycott off the ground and, really working with those restaurants and bars, putting the pressure that was needed to get done what needed to get done. And then, of course, the International Local 324 for coming in and stepping in at a very crucial time to help support that effort.
Well, I'd like to point out 206 too, Dan Sobey, if you could raise your hand.
Absolutely.
206 has been instrumental. 206 has been instrumental in this whole process, and we continue to work very well together on behalf of the membership. I'd like to also thank TZOC, Local 223. We put a strike fund together, and a strike assistance fund together at Local 324 to help with everybody's medical. And we've got quite a few people that have had some pretty serious medical issues that come up that they can't afford. And we reached out to all the Western region locals in the country, and we received over $75,000 in donations. And in the coming days and weeks, we're going to actually put that out to the whole nation for all the Teamster locals across the country to try to keep this thing going and make sure that these folks can not only survive, but make sure that their medical needs are taken care of for them and their families.
Last thing, I do want to give special credit to Dan Sobey, Principal Officer, Local 206. Yeah. Who showed a tremendous amount of effort being at that line from the outset to now. That was just a lot of work put in from you and the local. And I didn't know status. Oh, and I didn't know about the extension of the ask for all the locals around the country. That's awesome, Chris. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, every local donated, your local as well, so it's been much appreciated.
Awesome, appreciate it. Okay, without further ado, I think we're still good on time, but we will go ahead and begin. So the way we'll do this is, if you could just simply raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Ooh, it's starting quick. We'll go ahead and try to best keep track of sequence. So maybe starting from this side of the room, going back that way, so on and so forth. So I will start right over here.
How can I give a cash donations?
How can you give donations? Cash donations.
So any cash donations, I would encourage you to actually give them directly to the folks on the line. That way they can buy products and things that they need, propane, et cetera. We get reimbursements to them, but that initially, if you have cash, that'd be the best way to actually help the line.
Okay, is there any way we can, place to send donations to?
If you contact Local 324, if anybody wants to donate specifically to the Strike Fund assistance, we can set that up through the local union. And the phone number is 503-378-1421. Anybody can look that up online. Our number's online.
And if we wanted to donate here now, could we?
There you go. Get with Anita.
Can I connect the brother with you, Anita?
Or if you want to sit. So I could give her money right now.
You're loud enough, right?
Yeah.
I want to set an example. I mean, if you guys are making a sacrifice, I can sacrifice.
Thank you, brother. Could I see those hands again so I know where I'm going? Oh, Brother Folnaghy.
First off, thank you so much. My name is Austin Folnaghy. I'm the board of directors with Lane Community College. Thank you, by the way, for mentioning Lane Community College in this. We are in discussions with this. So there's my dad, by the way. I'm caregiving for him. What do you want to see from elected officials? We have seen elected officials go out there on the strike line for pictures and so forth. That isn't enough. What do you need from elected officials like myself? Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and take that one. So I'll be the first one to openly and outwardly say that from the top down, we have not had enough. Our governor was not present early enough. She became engaged later on in the process, but we also had folks show up at the line that didn't want to be on camera and didn't want to give statements. So what we need from elected officials is to be vocal and to be supportive and to encourage other elected officials to do the same thing.
Hello, my name is Justin, and if I may be greedy, I have two questions. First one would be for Lonnie specifically, because you're the only one who brought this up in the panelist intro. It's important that we understand the how and why that things happen, not just that, hey, they're union busting. Okay, how? You mentioned that they were being racist to the people on the line. What have you seen specifically? Is it a one-off or is it a systemic issue?
So, at the very onset of the strike, Bigfoot probably recommended to them by, what the heck's the lawyer's name again? The lawyers again?
Fisher Phillips.
Yeah, Fisher Phillips, those jerks. So the strikes that they brought, the scabs that they brought in and the security they brought in were almost exclusively people of color. This is a long-standing, anybody who knows anything about labor history, it is a long-standing practice to enter a community. If it's a black community, they use white scabs. If it is predominantly white community, they will use black scabs or people of color. And the whole point of that is to try to cause some sort of racial strife and get so that they can utilize that against the striking workers. So it's literally in their playbook. You know, Eric and Andy, I don't know them personally. They may not be racist, but I guarantee you this company, the tactics that they are being told to use, and it is in the union busting playbook, are racist. And we need to call that out when we see it. And it's very important to do so because the company has tried to say that the strikers are being racist. My understanding is that they've made comments in the community trying to paint that picture. And that's not the case. So we need to call that out when we see it. And again, it's not just Bigfoot that does this. Every time you see a strike, it seems these are the tactics that they use. It's union busting 101.
Thank you. And my second question was, can we go a little bit more into depth about what exactly it means when you replace the 401ks or replace the pensions with 401ks? What happens to the people that have been putting in for 15 years? What happens to the people that have only been doing this for 3 months? What happens to that money that's been put into it? And how that affects the long term for them?
Okay, so I'm going to try to give a small of an answer as possible because there's a lot of pieces in this. But what I'll tell you is that it takes 5 years for somebody to get vested in the pension plan, and that's 500 compensable hours in a calendar year. So Braden, for instance, working there the short time he's not vested in the program at all. So all the money that was put in on his behalf is there, but unless he gets back into either this job at Bigfoot with the pension contributions or another Teamster job with pension contributions, that money is not available to him. Now, we also have enhanced early retirement under the pension. And with that, people can retire much earlier than, most folks have to wait till they're age 65 or later. So we've got brothers and sisters that have put in 17 or more years that are close to their peer and could have retired in 1 or 2 years, just as one of them that when he spoke up here. Now, not being in the pension, he doesn't get 2 points for every year, because every year you get older, you get a point, and every year you put in the pension, you get a point. So to get to your peer, that's 2 for every year. Now he has to wait. Now he has to work much more years until he's eligible to pull those monies. Many people want to the panel's point, we got multiple Bigfoot managers that are vested in this pension plan. And we had Eric Forrest actually on video telling this group through the fence that that the union is somehow making money off of this pension. And that's absolute BS. The Western Conference Pension Plan, a Taft-Hartley Trust pension plan, defined benefit, is equally administered by employers and union trustees. I'm one of the 12 union trustees, but we have 12 trustees from employers who play an active role in making sure that the trust stays strong and active and the money stays available. So where this impacts future employees potentially, and I raised this during the negotiations, is if they're successful here and then other employers are successful, sooner or later we're going to start underfunding this pension plan, and then it's not going to be good for anybody. Now, right now, it's the largest multi-employer pension plan in the country. It's the most well-funded. We started in 13 states. Now we're in 33 states across the country. It's fully funded right now, which is dynamite. But when you've got the brothers and sisters that have been in this since 1957, and now all of a sudden Eric and Andy are claiming that they know better for our members what is good for them. So I hope that answered your questions.
If I could piggyback on that, because Chris used me as an example, I've done the math, and I know I mentioned it in my statement as well. That lost time that I would be able to collect collect off the pension would be over $350,000 of lost retirement money that I would be able to collect because of this change to a 401k.
Hey, my question's for Chris. Hey, I'm Chelsea. I sit on our board of directors for SEIU 503. I'm also vice president of AFL-CIO CLC. I sent a letter signed by my statewide president and executive director the end of February to you and the other 5 leaders of 324. I also connected with you on Facebook, a couple of messages with Kelly Kalkofen. My question is, because this is a situation where you take one of us on, you take all of us on. So what is Teamsters doing to collaborate, if anything, with other unions who are more than willing to step in and collaborate and engage?
Chelsea, thank you for the question. So we took the jurisdiction on back in December, and we are actively starting to reach out to other entities. We've got 5 picket lines going on in Newport, Eugene, Springfield, Roseburg, and Coos Bay, and we're up in Salem, Oregon. So I just would encourage any entity to reach out to us. We're trying to get caught up in the backlog. We've just recently been communicating more with the SSN and DSA. We've been in contact with AFSCME and Pat with Lane County. So reach out to us. and we'll try to coordinate something.
Let's see hands again real quick. Other questions? And I have a quick one. Who's the brother that runs around with the Sasquatch costume on?
Shane. Go Shane.
So, somebody wanted to know, man, so I said I'd ask. There you go.
My name's Karen Myers. I'm a retired teacher. My father was union United Rubber Workers his entire career, so I'm union all the way. I would like to bring to your attention, maybe some of you already know this, next Saturday in Eugene and nationwide, and I understand even internationally, there's going to be what's called a hands-off rally. Ours will be at City Hall starting at 12 noon. And we're talking, obviously, what's going on the federal level of hands-off veterans benefits, hands-off health care, hands-off Social Security. And we know that at that level, there isn't really no support for unions at a federal level. I would love to see the Teamsters be at this rally next Saturday at City Hall, where you can tell people in the community your story, you can hand out information, and have people support you to make sure that this government keeps hands off unions as well. Thank you.
I'm wondering if anybody here has information on a possible strike at the University of Oregon. Maybe one of the unions is here. I'd like to know what's going to happen, if anything.
I'll go ahead and I'll let somebody answer on that. I'll speak very quickly on that. I know that there's been joint council sanctions for the Teamsters for sure to support some of those efforts as well.
And we appreciate that. I'm a picket captain for the University of Oregon strike, which is scheduled to start Monday. The negotiations are ongoing, and I don't have any specific information about that. I think it's a good sign that they're still happening. And so we still hope that a strike will be averted, but it's sort of all systems go to start the strike on Monday morning. I don't know if there are other questions. I may or may not be able to answer them, but. What's that? Yes, that's the United Academics Union that will be striking at U of O, not the GTFF or the student workers unions. And United Academics includes faculty and various other academic roles on campus. Has about 1,800 members.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is just a question for anyone on the panel who feels called to answer it, I suppose. Excuse me, is that better? Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering, so obviously it kind of brought up that this is not going to be the last time that this happens, right? And that, you know, these rat bastards, as they've been called, are going to do this again, right? And I guess, what sort of takeaways do you have from this strike? And maybe what would you have done differently now if you would have, like at the beginning of the strike, if you knew what you know now? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Pat Riggs-Henson with the Lane County Labor Chapter. You guys are so amazingly brave. Guys, these are our heroes. These are complete heroes. What they have done, they have brought their families, they brought their friends, they brought the community support with them. They have done everything within their power to make sure this doesn't happen to you. We have a saying, if you take one of us on, you take all of us on. So what did we do? You take one of us on? Take all of us on. Thank you so much. The labor chapter and the AFL-CIO have been with you all the way through this, and we'll see it to the end. Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to answer the question. You know, for community, for the network, I think, you know, this has been a very educational strike. I mean, we haven't had a strike this long in a very long time. I think, you know, the Nikolai Morgan door strike, which is what ESSN was created out of in, I think, '89, was like 19 months. We hope it don't go this long. And it's not going to, because we're going to get these guys to come to the table somehow, right? But I think that what I would say the biggest learning thing, or biggest lesson learned here is just, you know, we need to educate our community on like what it means to be a scab. Like, I have had a lot of conversations with people. Well, it wasn't really a conversation, it was more of an argument with my brother, because he said, well, you know, people gotta feed their families. I'm like, yeah, but you don't do it by stealing, taking jobs, taking food off the table of your fellow workers. And I think, yep. The biggest lesson learned that I've seen with this, and frankly with other strikes in our community that haven't lasted this long, is we are far too nice to scabs. We are far too nice to the people that are selling us out. And I think it's because we all want to be empathetic. We all know that there's struggles out there, but you know, when you see those people out there, we need to call them on it. We need to make it uncomfortable. Not just uncomfortable, we need to make people not want to be a scab, and we need to explain to people and educate in our community why it's so bad. That's, I think, the biggest lesson learned that I've seen.
I will add to that, because I share your sentiment, Lonnie. The education around that starts with coalition building. That's how we win these things. Labor, community, social justice, the colleges, the campuses, everybody in the community being involved under one banner for that fight. It does not work when we're siloed. In fact, most of these labor conflicts that we lose typically are because we've been siloed in one way or another. So I want to reiterate what you said, and also add the notion that coalition building is how we win this, and history's proven that. You don't have to take my word for that. Other questions? Brother right there, go ahead.
It's not so much a question, but just kind of iterate on what he was saying about the scabs. You know, I don't have social media, or I don't go on the internet or anything. I'm not part of any of that. It's just I know what I've seen from my time out on the strike line. I'm in Coos Bay. We got like 6 of us. There's not a whole lot going on out there. I think we're on our like 5th canopy from getting destroyed. But these guys, my experience with these scabs, just so you know, like, to assure you that you should be making them uncomfortable, is when they were going by, I was telling them, I was like, how can you guys just crawl over me and his family and my kids? You're crawling over us, slimy. You're slimy. And you're crawling over my kids and family, and you don't care about them. You don't care about the guy working next to you. When we were a brotherhood. And these scabs are not brotherhoods. They're selfish, just like the owners. And so when you hesitate to make them uncomfortable, that's not the right answer. Get in their bubble. They don't want the confrontation. I told them, you guys have no honor, you have no dignity, and you have no values whatsoever. And they all look at me and go, you're right. And that's when I knew I'm not dealing with just another person. This isn't another human being that cares for one another like a village should. And so now I know what kind of people I'm dealing with. These are not normal kids. They don't have families. They're all 20 and younger. They know no better. All they focus on is themselves. They focus on what they want. They go spend their money on video games or whatever, when mine was supporting a family. So the difference in that is just huge to me. I don't really have any questions, but I just wanted to express myself.
I just want to say something to what he's saying. People should be aware too that the Teamsters are taking care of these striking workers. They're paying them to be on the line, and they're helping them with their health care. So the people who've crossed the line, they're not doing it because they're not getting money. They're doing it because they want to stay in good with the bosses. Or they're just basically spineless jellyfish. They don't have the reason of saying, well, I can't put food on the table. The Teamsters are taking care of their people in that regard. So that just makes it even worse. When you think about them crossing the line.
I've got a pretty across the board, interesting, more like philosophical question for you guys. So I think there's a growing class conscientiousness right now, and I'm curious where you guys kind of place yourself in that struggle. I think across the board, we're witnessing an obvious oligarchical situation in our government, in which both sides of the aisle exhibit the same problems. I think there's a ripe opportunity right now for a significant move in the opposite direction and expose that for what it actually is. And I'm curious whether or not the Teamsters are willing to take that stance, and other labor movements. You guys receive a lot of support from the community and other working class individuals. Will you stand with the rest of us when we take on that fight of the 1 versus the 99?
I'd just like to make a comment on that. So one of the things that I like to talk to new groups when we go in and organize a campaign, and an employer or somebody that operates on behalf of the employer tries to make it sound like the Teamsters are some outside entity. We are Teamsters. The group up here are Teamsters. I'm a 31-year Teamster. I still pay union dues to my home local. We're a family, and we are out representing the community every day in what we do, and we're no different than these other organizations up here. We live and breathe this every day, and that's how we do that. We continue that by being a family and working from the ground up.
Never been told I needed a microphone, so this is new. I just want to say, my husband is Jess, and so I just want to say how proud we are of all of you, because I know the stress and the hard, this is a hard decision to make day one, but it's a really hard decision to make 6 months in. And I also want to thank the families, because I don't think everybody understands what the family sacrifice, the kids, the spouses, the partners. One thing that was not brought up was what a family company Bigfoot has been. So like our son has worked there. There's other family members that have multiple people in the family that work there. And there's actually been instances where, one of those family members crossed and that other person still stood back out on the line. So it's hard, and it's hard financially, and it's, but I want to say we know how it is having a young family out there as well, because like Jess mentioned, we were out there with little ones, so especially with little ones, it's tough. And also just a big, huge thank you to everyone in the community that has stepped up. A couple things that weren't mentioned were, we had Christmas presents that we were able to deliver to families on the line thanks to Teamsters and the labor chapter. And that was big. It was a hard time to be out there. and the treats and the snacks and the food and the honks, like all of those help keep the morale out there. So keep it up. We love you guys.
Sorry, I wanted to talk to the community real quick about something. I'm nobody, I'm not with anybody here, but I've been volunteering my time for like the last 2 weeks maybe. I've only done a couple of little things. But one of the things I've done is go to all the places I usually go to, just all my usual shopping, local little stores, and just talk to the people who recognize me because they see me every other day. And you will not believe how many of them are like, oh yeah, I heard about that, what's going on with it? And they have no idea. As of this moment, every single one of you in this room knows more about this than everybody else outside of this room. And everybody outside of this room knows nearly nothing. Please take 2 seconds. Hey, do you know about Bigfoot? Do you have this? Do you know this? Oh, do you get this? Talk to them about it and just spread the word a little bit here and there. If you don't have time to go put up signs, talk to your local grocer. If you don't have time to go and stand on the picket sign, just leave a little note somewhere. Talk to people, because I guarantee you, so many people heard this much about it, did this much research about it, and then just walked away and left people like these guys to deal with it on their own. And that's not how we get through this.
That was well said. You kind of tied up the last 15 minutes of our thing. No, just kidding. No. Any other outstanding questions? We are slightly ahead of schedule, so.
There is a FAQ sheet and a timeline out on the front table, so please grab it.
Please grab the literature on the way out. Brother Louis is showing it. Thank you. Louis, what do we have back there? Just so folks know what they're signing on the way out.
So there's a sign-in sheet. Hopefully you sign in that you're here. There's a letter of support to the company from the community in support of the workers. There's the FAQ sheet, which is the longer piece of paper. There's a pledge for assistance. For businesses to support the boycott.
Perfect.
Signs that you can put up, like on your door at work, or what, kind of a high visibility place to put it up.
Awesome. So on your way out, please look at those items, participate in whatever way you can. And I don't want to steal thunder at this point, and I would like, originally it was going to be Lonnie, and Lonnie, I still would like you to reiterate the highlights and, ask the folks in the room, but I would implore the rest of the group, if there's things that you've heard today and have rethought about things and want to make an ask to the community, now would probably be a good time to do that. So, yeah. Brother Lou.
Hey, wise guy. Have their hand up first.
Sorry, Mal's my coworker. So
yeah, that's my colleague over there.
I better be good.
I'm Mal Musselman. I am a Teamsters 223 member. Brand new to being a Teamster. Part of the reason I haven't been on the line is because me and T have been on a line we were on a line for almost 2 months, supporting the Providence nurses. Which I was hired and then on the strike line. So now I'm going to be joining you, and my question was actually, how many of you will I see on the strike line this week? If you could raise your hand. If you're on the University of Oregon campus, how many will I see on the strike line at the University of Oregon? Okay, how many the following week will I see you and someone you know on one of these strike lines? Yeah, okay, so I hope to see you out there. If you didn't raise your hand, if you're not capable of being out on a strike line, that makes sense. If you are capable of being on a strike line, I want you to look inside yourself. And next time you're at the grocery store and you see someone buying a boycotted product, talk to them in the grocery line.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Lou Siniger. I'm with the Oregon AFSCME retirees and with Healthcare for All Oregon, by the way, so that you shouldn't have to strike just to keep your health care. Take that shit off the bargaining table, right? So I missed some of the meeting because I had a different engagement, but I'm really proud to see everybody here. The one question that keeps rolling around in my mind is, do these two owners here, these two, I don't know, all the past background that you've talked about says that, you know, that they were very family oriented, they were good employers, and then all of a sudden they changed. Are they trying to bust the union to sell the company or something? Does anyone have an idea or information on this?
The ongoing rumor, we haven't actually got any proof of any of this, but the ongoing rumor that we've heard is that there is a potential sale in the works. I don't have anything to back that up, but 100% they're trying to bust the union. There's no question about that. The pension trust is not allowed to bifurcate anybody in the plan, doesn't allow for tiered systems in the plan, and that's there for a reason, to make sure that that pension is strong and there for everybody else, including the managers that are going to take advantage of it. So they knew that this was an end game decision when they made it at the table. So 100% union busting. Rat bastards.
Go ahead, Lonnie.
One thing with that too, Lou, is we've heard the same rumors. We think they're probably more than rumors. One thing I will say is, you know, if they're thinking of selling, you know, it would be good for us to let whoever it is they're thinking of selling to, maybe, I don't know that, you know, if they do sell and they buy, what they're buying is they're buying a headache, because the community is going to keep going after this company if they bust the union. And, you know, does a big corporation want to, you know, really take that on? You know, so it's something we need to make sure we get out there.
We got one more over here. Hi, thank you guys so much for being here. My name's Scott. I'm with GTFF at the U of O. This company, the scab company, Huffmaster, how does that work? Because like this seems like it is like basically the central part of the boss's strike breaking strategy is like this company. So are they bringing workers in from out of state, or are they just run out of state and finding local workers? Do they have like an office in Eugene that people could, like, I don't know, maybe show up to and make some noise at or something? Like how does this company work?
So the really bad answer to that is that this is one of many companies across the country that this is all they do. So we also represent Republic Services, who Bill Gates owns a vast majority of. They have what's called a Blue Crew. They have a company that provides workers across the country to either decertify a union or to keep unions from coming in. So any employer that wants to implement something like this, there's ample opportunity. There's multiple companies across the country. And yes, what they do is they bus them in. So you'll see little white vans come in, all the windows tinted out. They'll bring the crew in and they'll try to keep them. It's like they're going to prison and they're not, you know, being seen. And they'll put them up in hotels, and they'll spend 3 times the amount of money for these scabs than they're willing to put in the pockets of the people that made them profitable to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the nurses know about that.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Danielle, and my husband is sitting up there, and we are the one that has 4 children, all 4 while Bo has been an employee of Bigfoot. But my question, I think, is for you, Chris. Our Oregon legislature is actively in long session. Is Teamsters doing anything to make changes to get the company to actively negotiate 192 days in?
Great question, and yes. So our joint counsel, President Mark Davison, we've been actively pushing for Governor Kotek since inception of this strike back in September of 19. We've engaged with the entire committee. We've got Steve Canopa, who is our legislative director, that is actively communicating with them. But I'll give you an example. So the political liaison for Governor Kotek, I have another issue at another location, and I've left 15 messages with the liaison, and I've not got a phone call back. So what's important to remember is we're doing what we can actively and through the legislature. We're in contact with the international, taking resources from the international. But no party is a good party for labor when they take money from both sides. And that's happening right now, and that continues to happen. So what we need to do as activists and union leaders is not only do we need to hold employers accountable, we need to hold our elected officials accountable, because all too often they speak out of one side of their mouth and they take money. Governor Kotek took money from Bigfoot. Governor Kotek took money from Amazon, and Governor Kotek was at our table at the Joint Council and committed to us that she would not take money from Amazon, and she did. So I think we need to hold our elected officials accountable.
I just want to bring to everyone's attention that if you go to an Oregon Duck activity, the biggest banner you're going to see in your face the entire time is Bigfoot. Yep. So think about that, and think about all the vending machines that are on that campus when you guys go on strike next week that everybody's been buying from. We can't win this if UFO doesn't get off their ass and stop their contract with them. Each and every one of us go to all those events. That's a way that you can support us. And the other unions that are here, like the lady back there, your unions, if they can find out, hey, do we have machines in all these places? Or do I work somewhere where we support Bigfoot? Then go to your boss and say, you know what? I work at Pacific Source out in Springfield, and we've got vending machines all over the place. Why are we doing this? We have nurses that are part of a union. Why are we supporting them? So think about, like, there's just a ripple down effect of all of this. And like they've said before, if they bust this union, the nurses union's next, the UPS is next, the iron workers are next. It's just a ripple effect. So for instance, why are there machines at the state police office? Those guys have a pension. Same thing with the firefighters, the nurses, everybody. The hospital, that hospital's got vending machines all over it, right? The patients aren't buying that stuff. It doesn't have to be there. You don't have to be supporting that stuff. So if you can kind of talk to your friends and look within yourself and go, oh, I guess this is a way that this is all connected, that's something everyone can do. That's more beneficial than standing on a strike line.
All righty, we're nearing the end, so we're just going to have one more here, all right?
Hi, my name is Lisa Jenkins Easton. I'm the president for Eugene Chapter 1, representing classified employees at Eugene School District. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Eugene Education Association. They did a pretty cool flex recently. So EEF is the fundraising arm for Eugene 4J schools, and they found out that Bigfoot had been was sponsoring their gala, which is a pretty big deal in town, and demanded a refund of their tickets and wrote a letter saying why. That elicited a phone call from the new director, who's only been there about a year, to myself and to the EEA president, Sabrina Gordon, offering us seats on their board, potentially. They're going to talk it over. We're not sure we want them, just based on the company we would keep. I checked the names out, but it did elicit a conversation with that new director to ask me some things about what is the truth. And I was asked, do you all really still work for Bigfoot? Are you still really employed? And I definitely corrected what her perception and what she had learned. So thank you all for what you do, and education in this town is behind you. I was really excited to see the vending machines unplugged in most schools. partially because we can't sell snacks to kids during school hours, but I think that they're, you know, the grown-ups know. So thank you.
Lonnie, could you go ahead and begin the final section concerning next steps, asks from the community? I mean, we've gone through a lot of that, but I'd like you to articulate it.
Yeah, I mean, we have covered pretty much most everything, right? You know, we just need to, we need people to go to the website, know what items not to get, you know, and support the boycott. If you're going into a restaurant or a bar or any place, you know, ask them if they get, if they're getting, if they get services from Bigfoot, and if they are, just, you know, just tell them that, you know, tell them how you feel about it. And, you know, then of course, again, if you sign up for our email list, when there's an action or an event, and we'll send out an alert for it, then hopefully we'll get people to show up. You know, we will be doing more events. We'll continue targeting, you know, we're going to continue targeting Jerry's and Summit Bank and Umpqua Bank, and, you know, and these relationships that Eric and Andy have in the community. You know, you guys, anything else you can think of? I will say this, so, okay. So we've been doing a coffee, which is basically me and like 5 other people with ESSN that go and have coffee Saturday mornings at Theo's. I put it in the weekly. We're going to start it's kind of ramping up our Solidarity Coffee, which is Saturday mornings, 11 to 1. And one of the big topics, things that we'll be discussing and working on at the coffee will be the Bigfoot strike. You know, other things will be the attacks on you know, federal workers, you know, issues that we're having with cahoots, different things like that. It's basically an opportunity if you show up for coffee and you want to know what's going on with labor in our community and you want to get involved, show up, you know, Theo's Coffee right over here, 11 to 10, and we'll have that probably posted in the weekly as well. So, I mean, that's what you can do. Just get involved, educate your family, your friends, and, you know, support this boycott.
Thank you, brother. 2 quick things I'd like to point out. Emily, would you mind articulating one? Because it directly plays to the piece that I'm going to bring up as well. So.
Good. Ooh. Sorry, I wrote words down because otherwise I'll get scrambled with my thoughts. Yes, I'm Emily. I use they, them pronouns. I'm with the GTFF. I was our external relations officer for about 2 years, so I've met a good amount of people in this room, but I'm also very happy to see lots of new faces. This is the first time I've been in like any space with this many unions in a long time, and it's very exciting to see so many leaders and members here. But yes, like I mentioned, I was our external relations officer for about 2 years, and the lead of our contract action team with our strike threat last year, which was very successful. The reason that we were so successful and ultimately did not have to go on strike was because we had the undeniable support of our community, including Teamsters. Oh, Dan's right there. Yeah, we got our strike sanctioned by the Teamsters, and it was phenomenal to see that kind of work done. So yes, thank you for everybody here that helped us pull that off. But I wanted to speak more on behalf of the work that I'm currently doing in GTFF. I am a co-chair of our general strike working group, and so we formed in response to Sean Fain, the president of UAW's call to work towards a general strike across the nation in 2028. And we recognize this as like a huge moment to like revamp and like rethink what union power looks like here in the United States, given the history of the labor movement here in the United States and also given the current political climate. And so part of the work that we're doing is trying to, just like ESSN, rebuild this like labor network in our community, because oftentimes we have relationships between union members and union leaders, but we aren't necessarily, that structure needs a lot of support. It was really damaged over the COVID years. And with so much things going on over the last few years in terms of politics, we've really got to come back together so that we're not having to work so hard every time a political struggle comes up, but we have that support ready to go and we don't have to do things. I mean, I love this kind of event, but don't have to do so much work and from day one know why Teamsters are on strike, know what's going on with Bigfoot, and much faster turning out the results that we wanted to see. So yes, I wanted to say on behalf of our General Strike Working Group, we already had a strategy meeting with labor and community organizers this past week, but we're going to have a second one this coming Tuesday, April 1st from 6 to 7 p.m. So I'll talk to people after this is over, but definitely if you know me, and especially if you don't know me, please come and talk to me. I can get you the RSVP information for that, and if you're not available for that meeting, and also, whether or not you're a union leader, even if you are just a community member and want to get involved, I would love to talk with you. If you can't make it to the meeting, we can find some time to talk, but I think this is really important to do this work of building a long-term struggle and a sustainable network of labor power here in our community, because it's all waiting to be activated. We've just got to start doing that work on the ground. But thank you. Sorry I talked for so long.
So, in closing, Nikolai, do you want to say anything before we close?
I got a quick question for a lot of people. Who has a front yard? Raise your hand. Thank you. All right. Pat, back there at the Lane County Labor Chapter, has a lot of yard signs that say something along the lines of "Stop Union Busting." You should talk to her, and you should put one of these very fashionable lawn signs in your front yard. That's a very easy thing to do. You just put it there, and then you're done. Ask for 10 seconds. You got this.
How much is it?
How much what?
How much is it?
Free!
Oh my goodness.
Call now.
I want to thank the panelists first. Workers, officers, community members, really, thank you so much. This is probably the largest panel that I facilitated maybe in my whole career. So honestly, thanks for making it easy. You guys are great. Appreciate it. And of course, thank you all, especially for coming out on a Saturday and just being here with all of us and making plans moving forward to fight this company that's caused so much damage to our community. But I know together with our coalition building that we can beat this company. This is not a new fight. This is a very old fight, but let's fight it the right way. Thank you all, and you have a great day.